What's wrong with gentle parenting? Lots of things. There are things just in the reality of the world that gentle parenting tries to eliminate from a child's life that are usually there to teach them how to behave. Here's 7 reasons gentle parenting isn't a good strategy. Number 1, removes all shame, blame, or punishment. Though I do not think a parent needs to be the one to cause shame by saying negative words to a child or purposefully over-exaggerating their mistakes, shame can be a very good thing when it is appropriate and not overemphasized. The natural consequence of shame causes a person to learn how to behave. If they throw food in a restaurant, for example, and the other patrons look at them in a negative way and they notice that, they should be ashamed of themselves. They are recognizing the reality of their place in the world and how their behavior affects their reputation. The reality of life is that our actions do affect our reputation, and shame is a good way to quell the temptation to behave inappropriately. It can be a very good thing to help us all, as long as it isn't misplaced or overdone. Blame is only bad if it isn't true. If a child is responsible for a problem, it is totally fine for them to know that and take responsibility for it. Again, as long as it isn't misplaced or over-exaggerated. If a child behaves badly and realizes that it causes others to see them in a negative way, that is a good thing. They should take the blame for things they do and be ready and willing to apologize. Punishment can also be a positive thing that helps a child learn from their mistakes and guides them to better behavior. I am a big advocate of both natural and imposed consequences when done appropriately and balanced with encouragement and love. To attempt to eliminate all shame, blame, and punishment is not a positive thing for a child, nor is it productive in helping them to learn how to behave. Number 2, validates and respects inappropriate feelings and emotions. All of us have emotions that are appropriate and sometimes are inappropriate. A parent should be the one to guide a child in learning what emotions mean, how they are to be expressed, and how they are not to be expressed, and which feelings they have are appropriate for the situation and which are not. Gentle parenting teaches that all emotions are valid and should be acknowledged and appeased. No, not all emotions are valid, and not all emotions or feelings should be validated or appeased. For example, if a child gets angry because their sibling has a birthday party and got some presents, and it wasn't their birthday, so they did not, that's not an emotion that should be validated or appeased. This is an example of when a parent should let them know their emotions are inappropriate and not valid at all. They are being selfish and entitled. This is not okay, and they should be told it is not acceptable to have this emotion, and it is not acceptable to act upon it. They need to recognize that if they are having an inappropriate emotion, it is because they need an attitude adjustment. They need to think differently so that these emotions do not come up when they are not valid. And teaching a child that not all emotions are appropriate is totally okay and true. And the idea that it is not always appropriate to act upon their feelings is a basic concept they need in life to become successful and content. Gentle parenting teaches a child that the world and everyone around them should acknowledge and validate their feelings even when they are inappropriate, which is why we have the situation now where many young adults live outside reality because of the way they feel, rather than live in reality because of what is true. Number 3, allows for bad behavior. Here's what I read in an article online that was explaining gentle parenting techniques. Quote, if a child throws things when upset, parents create a safe place for them to explore these actions. Unquote. No. A child that throws things because they are upset is a child who is out of control and letting their emotions rule their actions. They need to learn that just because they are angry, throwing things is not appropriate and will not be tolerated. Allowing a child to behave badly does not help them in the long run. It makes them believe that they have the right to lash out when they're angry and teaches them nothing about self-control. Self-control is the key to a life of success and achievement. Gentle parenting allows for bad behavior and by doing so, encourages it. Number 4, boundaries are set inappropriately. Gentle parenting advocates suggest that they set boundaries, which is how they teach a child to work through their emotions in a healthy way. What they do instead is set boundaries that only allow for safety concerns and not for teaching and training a child to behave or how to handle emotions appropriately. For example, here's a quote from the same article about setting boundaries. Quote, "If a rule set by a parent is no throwing things at others, both parents and children are on the same page regarding expectations and consequences. Gentle parents encourage children to explore and develop individuality, but prioritize safety by setting clear boundaries and expectations." Unquote. So the boundary set here is not teaching the child that throwing things when angry is not acceptable. It is only set to a point of not hurting themselves or others when they do throw things. So in other words, as long as you aren't hurting anyone, it's okay to behave like a brat. This is the message. That is not an appropriate message to teach a child or a boundary that teaches the child to behave. Throwing things when angry is inappropriate. That should be the message to the child. Gentle parenting gives the wrong message about boundaries because they don't set boundaries that teach a child how to behave or how to learn about the reality of the world around them. Number 5, puts the child in the role of leader. Gentle parenting places the child in the lead in regards to the parent-child relationship. But that's not the way it should be. Though a parent and a child are both of equal value, they're in different roles and have different levels of responsibility, knowledge, and life experience. A child should be learning from the parent and dependent on the parent to teach them how to behave. A parent should lead. A child should listen and learn from them. That's their roles. Gentle parenting in practice really suggests the child lead and the parent come behind and try to keep them from hurting themselves or others as they navigate through their raw emotions and foolish, childish antics. The way things should be is the parent leads the child and guides them through life, learning how to conquer and control their emotions and behaviors in a healthy and productive way so they can be content and successful. The goal isn't just to keep them from hurting themselves or others. It is to help them learn to take control of their own lives by showing them the reality of their own childish foolishness while guiding them into wisdom with discipline and training in a loving way. Gentle parenting does none of this. Number 6, makes a child feel insecure. One of the problems with the parent following the child around rather than leading is it makes the child feel insecure. A child knows that the parent has more knowledge about just about everything than they do. At least they realize this until they're teens. For example, if you were getting into an airplane for the first time, ready to take off across the ocean, would you feel safe and secure if the pilot looked at you for direction on how to work the controls? Or just said, "Go ahead and push the buttons and I'll let you know when you make a mistake, or if what you do will crash the plane. Otherwise, go right ahead." How secure would you feel going on that flight? This is similar to the underlying feeling a child has when they have no guidance about how to behave or what is appropriate and what is not. And in their foolishness, they will go ahead and push those buttons, unsure all the way, and feeling angrier and angrier because there is no one taking the lead. They are left to do that, but they don't know what they're doing. This confusion causes more anger and insecurity, and the whole time they don't even know why they're angry. Gentle parenting does not equip a parent to know how to lead and leaves the child in a role that they are not equipped to handle. Number 7, parents abandon their role. Because gentle parenting uses the word respect to mean that a parent should not take charge or control when they need to, it leaves the relationship between the child and parent in a twisted state of inappropriate friendship rather than that of parent-child. A child does not need a parent to be their friend. We all play roles in each other's lives. A parent's role is not the same as the role of a friend. If a parent doesn't take their role as they should, the child is left an orphan for all intents and purposes, at least emotionally. Gentle parenting does not give the parent the authority they need to be the parent they should be, and leaves the child in a state of parental abandonment on some levels. If you've been stuck in the gentle parenting movement and have realized it just isn't working, there is plenty of information on how to teach and train your child to behave while growing a relationship of trust on this channel, on my website, mommyanswerlady.com, and in my book, How to Train Your Child to Behave. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and write a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you here again next time.